Hello guys, welcome to Talking Turkey. We're here with Chris Bur.
Hello.
Chris, I'm gonna do an introduction about this man. He's a wonderful character, as you're gonna find out. You're really gonna find out. So, Chris is from Saskatchewan. Grew up in a small town called Smiley, Saskatchewan. He's an instrumentation engineering technology graduate of NAIT. And he has a Red Seal Interprovincial Journeyman Certificate for instrumentation. That's a mouthful.
It is a handful, yes.
It is, yes. And he's taken personal development courses through the Martini Institute in Houston, Texas. And he's taken some PSI seminars in Calgary, Alberta, and Napa Valley, California. He's worked in the oil and gas industry, doing instrumentation for about 15 years. He's been an apprentice, journeyman, area manager, and trainer. And he's worked in coaching and personal development industry for about a year as an alignment coach. His personal goals: he would like to see 11 billion people align their personal values and visions by July 6th, 2077. Ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado, Chris Bur.
Hello everyone, that's me.
Should I even say tell us about yourself?
Sure. I mean, first of all, thanks for having me here. I mean, this is fantastic.
Thanks for being here, especially with the weather. Like, you made it all the way from was it Calgary?
Yeah. Came from Calgary. Up to number 2. Roads are pretty clear today, so it was a nice quick drive. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much.
Beyond glad to have you.
Yeah. A little bit about myself. Like you said, I'm small town, Smiley, Saskatchewan, which is maybe 150 people.
Wow.
It's half an hour outside of Kindersley, Saskatchewan, in between Saskatoon and Calgary. And I grew up there my entire life. Went to a small school in Marengo, Alberta. When I graduated, it was 170 students from kindergarten through to grade 12.
Wow.
So I knew absolutely everybody.
Wow.
And everybody knew me.
Yeah.
Pluses and minuses of both. Don't get me wrong, I loved going to school and growing up in a small town.
Right.
I graduated in 1999 and didn't really know what I wanted to do. And my dad, he's been in the oil industry for years, he said, well, why don't you do instrumentation? I'm like, what in the heck is instrumentation?
Yeah, that was like my first reaction to when we talked about it. Yeah.
So he lined up a couple guys that were doing instrument guys that were working for him, and I went on a little ride along. I'm like, this is cool. I could do this. It's all about figuring out how things work, making things calibrate, fixing problems. I'm like, right up my alley, because I've always asked the big questions. How does that work?
Yeah.
Why does the Earth go around the sun?
Yeah.
Why does the sun go around a black hole? Why is ketchup red?
Yeah.
Like, the big questions.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So then I did that for a little while, but I didn't have all the courses I needed in high school. So I went to Medicine Hat, and I started upgrading. And while I was doing that, I was boxing, because I started amateur boxing when I was in high school, and coached. And that was fantastic. I loved it. Went off to NAIT for a couple years.
Right.
Got my ticket and moved to Provost, Alberta. Started there as a young green apprentice, not knowing hardly anything, and worked my way up to the area manager, and then eventually became the trainer for a little over a year, and decided it was time to move out of instrumentation in 2016 and move to Calgary and focus on coaching.
Wow.
Because it's really the same thing. Instrumentation is just control systems and processes in an oil and gas or pulp and paper or hospital setting.
Right.
And we're just a whole pile of processes and systems.
Interesting.
It's a lot funner working with people than it is with compressors and everything. So a lot more fulfilling.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, a little
just
bit.
A little bit more. That's awesome.
Yeah, and now I've been in Calgary a little over a year.
Wow.
I still play a little bit in the oil and gas doing instrumentation, but my focus is definitely working with people.
Wow. So why did you? What made you decide to go into working with people versus just staying in the instrumentation and engineering section? Yeah.
Well, I'm selfish.
We all are.
I get a lot more satisfaction out of working with people and assisting them to get back in track with who they are and what they love doing. Because as they're growing and everything, I'm learning more about myself and the way everything works. And that satisfaction is I get a lot more satisfaction out of that than I do out of doing a turnaround or fixing a little problem at an oil facility or a gas plant. So for me, it's a selfish thing. And the more I do it, the more I learn how societies work and how family dynamics work. And that leads to the bigger pictures, like how's the universe work?
Yeah.
And everything. And I'm constantly questioning. Yeah. But it's by working with people that I get there. So that's really why I transitioned.
Wow. Yeah. You know, it's a big thing to try to find oneself too. It's big, and there's a question as to do we eventually find ourselves, or are we always on the way to finding ourselves? Like, what's your take on that?
I personally think that we are always on the way. It is an infinite journey to find oneself.
Yeah.
I don't see it as something that we can ever totally attain.
Right.
Because to me, to completely find oneself would be 100% equivalent to being a god. And I don't think we can ever achieve that state. We can get close. We can maybe have moments where we're in that zone, but I don't think the human condition can ever get there and sustain it.
That's true. Yeah. That's very true. I see it from that perspective as well. But I find that most people feel like just because we can never reach that, you know, just because we can never reach that, why should we keep trying to reach it? And I feel like that's where most people don't find the need to work hard to achieve what they're trying to do, because they feel, oh, perfect. No one's ever perfect, so why can't I just get a McDonald's job and just keep running my life like that?
You can. We all have that choice. You never have to shoot for the stars. If you want to play mediocre and small all your life, that's fine. It's up to you. We are given free will. So if you want to play that game, go ahead. But if you want to go to the next level, that's up to you. Just know that no matter what you do, there's going to be different challenges and different forms of support along the way.
Yeah.
To get to the top of the mountain, you got to climb up the mountain.
Oh yeah.
And that's a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, it's a lot more looking inside yourself and at who you are than it is at everyone else around you. For myself anyway,
right.
I looked at everyone else around me the smaller I was.
Right.
And the more I started looking inwards at myself, the more I started climbing up the mountain, the more people I was able to influence. But I wasn't looking at all of them for my answers. The lower I was on the totem pole, the more I looked to everybody else for my answers. And the higher I go up the totem pole, the more I realize the answers are all inside me. Now there's people that are at that same level, and we converse with each other, and we still idolize and look up to the people that are higher above us. And it's only until we're able to actually take the steps and move up there that we're at that level, then we realize, wait a second, we were like them all along. It just took us doing some actions in order to realize it.
Yeah, it's just never discovered.
Yeah, we haven't discovered it yet because we haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
It's like, I haven't ran a $50 million company.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's like.
Yes.
I can't say that I've played that game yet. Now, I would love to play that game, but that's going to take some time.
Yeah, that's true. It will, and eventually it happens. And for most people, people feel like they feel like, oh, I don't know what it's gonna take to run a $50 million company. It's probably gonna be so stressful. It's probably gonna be this. Probably gonna be that. But what people forget is, whatever situation you're at now, you weren't always at this situation from the beginning. Like, as a kid, you only played with toys, but now you're grown up. You have a full-time job and all that. While you're a kid, you never thought about, oh, hey, how could I handle an 8 to 5 or whatever? Like, what if my boss is screaming at me? How do I handle that? How do I take care of my kids? How do I do this? How do I do that? You never think about that at that point in time when you're a kid. But when you're an adult, you learn how to manage that. So for people that feel like, oh, I don't know if I could ever run a $50 million company, or I don't know if I can run a marathon sprint or whatever, try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try it and know that you're going to fail.
Yeah. It's
Like,
part of the whole thing.
yeah, like you're gonna stumble, you're gonna fall, you're gonna screw up, you're gonna fail. But if you're committed to it, you will keep going. You will find a way. You will pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and just keep going.
Yeah. Keep trying.
Yeah, and you have to be willing to give some things up in order to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, the higher up you go to, quite often there's going to always be friends, family, people from the past that are going to be there to try and pull you down. And it's not because they're bad people. It's just everybody wants to be equals. And if they can't see themselves rising to that level, it's a lot easier to try and pull people down that are at that level to their level.
Right.
I mean, that's the difference between becoming a leader and not. A leader will go up to that level, and then if they can, they will bring and pull other people up along with them.
That's right.
Where a lot of other people might get to that level, and they will push people down. And that's what I would say is more of a manager. That's a big discrepancy between a manager and a leader.
Why do you have people like that, though? Why do you have people that they get to the top or have found themselves, but then try to...
Fear. Because they don't love themselves. And they're afraid that if somebody else comes along that's better, that they will be devalued. So in order to protect themselves, they push other people away. But when, at least in my experience, when they love themselves, they look to other people for their individual strengths. And they use that and capitalize on that and go, hey, you're amazing at this.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you handle it. I'm going to delegate that to you because, oh my God, you're so good. Yeah. And that now allows me to focus my time and my energy on what I love, or finding somebody else over here that's really good at this, and I'm going to mentor them a little bit and give them a little bit of encouragement, and maybe send them on some courses to upscale them and make them a new manager or leader.
Yeah.
And then I can focus on something else.
Yeah.
And there's a little thing there too. This is personal to me because I've been a leader, I've been a manager. And
what's the difference?
Like I said, a lot of it was for me was fear. Managers tend to micromanage, where leaders tend to delegate. Was a big one that I found. But I found whenever I up-leveled in a career, in a relationship, whatever, I became a manager because it was new. And it was scary. And I was uncertain of myself. So I was more of a manager. I micromanaged people. I got emotional. I got upset. I didn't give everybody all the information that they necessarily needed.
Right.
As I became calm and confident, my leadership came back. And then I started delegating and pulling people up. And then I went on to the next level. And I became more of a manager again because it was scary and unknown. So I reverted back to, okay, I'm going to survive. In order to survive, this is what I'm going to do.
Which is the human thing to do, yeah.
Yeah, and then I became a leader again. And some places in my life I led, some places I managed, some places I was at the bottom. I didn't lead in all areas of my life ever.
Right.
That's just the way it worked for me.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I find that even sometimes leaders, it gets to, there are some situations that happen where they don't feel like leaders at that point in time, or they don't feel like, oh, they can, you know, like the point where you say you revert back a little bit. Like, it's probably part of being a leader too, is to go back and re-strategize and regroup, get yourself back together, put order, stabilize order and get things straight, and then go back at it again.
Well, you're always got to look at what worked and what didn't work.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, if this didn't work, why would I keep repeating the same steps over and over again? Sometimes we do. And the problems just get bigger and bigger and bigger until they get so big that we're forced to look at it the other way.
Right.
The universe, or the way the world works, the way our minds work, is a really interesting tool. If we don't learn a lesson, it just keeps repeating it and adding more stuff to the pile.
Spice to it, yeah.
Yeah, more spice to it, making the problem bigger and bigger and bigger until we're forced to deal with it one way or another.
Yeah.
We can deal with it in a positive way, or we can deal with it in a negative way.
Yeah.
If we learn really quick to deal with it, then we just move on to a new problem. The next level of problem, which allows us to grow that much more. So we can grow fast, or we can sit there and relive the same problem over and over again until we have to learn the hard way. And I've done both. Plenty myself. Trust me. I have learned the hard way a lot. But that has taught me some of the ways to learn easy.
True. Let's talk about Duality Realized. That's your company?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Duality Realized is the name for my coaching company.
Okay.
Coaching, speaking, writing, although I have not published or anything. I'm planning on, there will be a book. And it is more really my vision. It came to me while I was doing
really powerful vision 2077.
It's really my vision, and it's the way I look at the potential of life. Is Duality Realized is, for me, love, or a pure state of being. Everyone looks at a coin and they go heads or tails. That's a duality, heads or tails. But the real answer is, it's a coin. It's just a coin. The heads and tails are always there, but that's not what it is. And I find that that's the way we go through life. We go, this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. And no, it's just what is. The good or the bad, the right or the wrong, that's just the meaning that we give to it based on our personal values, our personal beliefs, and our experiences. Sometimes on what other people have told us, and we use that information because we're putting more validity in their opinion than we do ours. I believe in a state of complete realization. You're in the absence of depression, anxiety. There's no need for addiction.
Right.
And you're in a complete state of love and infinite growth. However, human beings don't work like that. Our brains work in on-off black-white. At the basic state of the neuron, it's on or it's off. But we have this amazing capacity to be able to see in all sorts of shades of gray, which allows us to go and continue weaving, finding support and challenge, growth and stuff along the way to keep going and going and going. And the closer we're able to stay to that center line of just being, it doesn't matter whether it's right, wrong, good, bad, the faster we go up that state and we stay closer to a state of love and growth. So that's why I call it Duality Realized, because the goal for me is to get as close to that line and see things as just, that's what it is, and keep growing and moving on as I can. And I'd love for everybody on the planet to be able to do that, because it's really knowing myself And if I know myself and you completely know yourself, we can talk about absolutely anything, and we can visualize and get anything done that we really set our minds to.
That's true. I agree with that 100%. I know we talked about that too. I'm a firm believer in when you find yourself and you understand the way you think and why you think, and understand that you're clear-minded. You have set principles. You know, you're not up and not down. And what I mean by that is you're not two-faced. You pretty much know, you know where you stand for. You're finding yourself, and I find that that's very important towards being who you are as a person, and being someone of integrity too.
Definitely. And it's been a tough journey. I've spent probably close to $100,000
Wow.
on personal development courses and doing work and everything on myself. And there will be much more money spent, because I am the best investment.
Yeah, that's right.
It is in me.
That's right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love having a nice car. I love having a house and everything. But really, the most important thing in my life is me.
Yeah.
So that's where I choose to put it. And just going back, yes, when I get clear on who I am able to speak with clarity and integrity. But even that, I'm going to be able to say, in this situation, this is right. In a different situation, that exact same thing is going to be wrong, because the context changes.
Yeah.
But as long as I know who I am, I'm able to feel that right away and answer quickly and go, for me, this is right now. Oh, in 10 minutes? No, it's wrong, but it's wrong because of this.
Right.
And I'm not having to flip-flop just to make other people happy. I'm just listening to who I am. And that's still, for me, integrity.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. I agree. No, it's good stuff. So what 3 principles do you live by, Chris?
What 3 principles do I live by?
So can we say, okay, we'll be like, oh, someone asks you, hey, you know Chris Bur? Like, yeah, I know Chris Bur. What 3 things stand out about him? What would you say?
Commitment. So figure out what it is that you really want, and then surrender to that. The universe will grab you and pull you in all sorts of different directions, but as long as you're clear on what you want, and that's the next thing is vision. Figure out what it is that you want and do everything you can to visualize that. And go big and bring it back down. Like I had a 60-year goal that came to me last year, and I got stuck in that and nothing happened. You got to shrink it down.
Right.
And the next thing is your values. Who are you? If you don't know who you are at this moment, how do you know where you're going to go?
That's right.
If I don't know who I am, I'm going to listen to every single person around, and I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that, I'm going to do this. And if it's not in line with where I want to go, I'm just going to get frustrated and angry and emotional, and I'm not going to get anything accomplished. So if I take the time and I figure out who I am, and I figure that out by looking at my life. What do I do? What do I talk about? What do I spend my money on? There's going to be patterns there.
Yeah.
Oh, this stuff's obviously important to me. That's got a lot to do with who I am. And then figure out what it is that I want. What's my vision? What are my goals? And everybody has them. Doesn't matter what anyone says. Well, I don't have goals. Really? Do I want to drink this coffee? Yes, I do.
There you go. Done.
Goal accomplished.
Yeah.
Most people have conscious goals, but a lot don't. They're just subconscious goals, like drinking the coffee. Get yourself a really set of conscious goals and ask them repeatedly. Make sure that they're clear. The clearer it is, the faster you'll get there, the more ways will appear for you to get there.
Yeah.
And then that's the alignment. Making sure the actions are aligned with who you are
Right.
and where you're going. And it doesn't mean they're always going to be easy. You have to learn things along the way. I hate talking to people on the phone. I'm not a big fan of it. Especially cold calling. Oh my God. If I got to pick up a phone and talk to a stranger, I hate it. But guess what? If I'm going to work with people and get to know people, I got to be willing to do that. So if I can align that action to my long-term goal, figure out how that benefits me and how it benefits them, well, it's a lot easier to do all of a sudden. It's not this big drawn-out dilemma for me. I just, this is gonna help me with my confidence. This is gonna help me. And what do I have to offer these people? If they work with me, they're gonna get some amazing results.
Yeah.
Grab the phone. Now I'm willing to talk, and it's a lot easier.
History question segment.
Sounds fun. Got lots of stories, lots of opinions. There won't be a problem there. What 3 things would you change about your city? Just get on the TV and just go, hey, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, people.
Are you an emotional eater?
Absolute disaster.